Hello guys, welcome to lesson number 1. Good to see you all. Welcome to Careerist. Today we're going to talk about career and job market overview. We're going to talk about software quality assurance and testing. So quality assurance stands for, basically QA stands for quality assurance. It's not questions and answers, it's quality assurance. And today we're going to talk about the industry, about the salaries, about what you actually do at work. We're going to answer all of your questions. Just please bear with us, listen carefully, because most of the questions are going to be answered during the lesson. If you're still going to have any questions at the end, we would love to answer those. Okay? But please listen carefully because most of the questions are going to be answered during the lesson. So QA stands for quality assurance, and our job is to make sure that everything looks, works, and feels good. Whenever we see a mismatch between actual and expected behavior, we report those problems. We don't fix problems, we only report problems. So for example, if we are talking about a web application, like a website, like careers.com, or we talk about a mobile application, like a dating app, or navigation app, or weather app. Someone designed this app, someone created this application or a website, a developer or a programmer, and someone like us is testing this application. It could be a website, it could be a mobile application on your phone. Someone like us is testing this application, comparing to the requirements, comparing to the design, comparing to the specs, and whenever we see any issue, any problem, any mismatch between actual and expected behavior, we report those problems. I will show you how. I will show you exactly what we do at work soon. And we send those reports to the developer for them to fix the problem. Now, hopefully they fix the problem, they send back the ticket that we created back to us to double check that it was fixed on the new version. If it was fixed, we close the problem. If it was not fixed, we send it back to the developer with our comments mentioning that the issue is still reproducible. That's our job, to report issues and verify the fixes. Very simple, very straightforward. Now, let's talk why, if this course is for you. First of all, you need to be authorized to work in the United States. It could be a green card, it could be a citizenship, it could be any kind of work authorization that allows you to work anywhere, anytime, without limitations and without sponsorship. For example, if you have EAD, asylum, you're going to be all right. You also need to have English. You should understand others. Others should understand you. You should be comfortable speaking English and should not have any communication problems. It doesn't mean that you need to have a perfect English. It doesn't mean that you need to have Churchill or Shakespeare English, or you need a PhD in English literature. No, you don't. You just need others to understand you to understand others, and not to have any communication problems with your teammates. You also want to start a career in tech, because that's what we do. We do IT, we do a tech job, and you need to want it. You are ready to accept a 65 to 100K job offer, because that's exactly the numbers that you're going to witness soon after graduating this 6 weeks program. 4 weeks going to be the educational part, and then you will have additional 2 weeks of practical part of the internship. So basically, once you're going to start your job search, and I'm going to talk about that very soon in details, you will be able to get between 65,000 to 100,000 per year. Usually it's 70 to 100K. Usually it's 35 to $50 per hour, but you always going to have some. You also always going to have some exceptions. Okay, so some people will get 65K, some people will get 110K, some people will get 33 per hour, some people will get 55 per hour. Okay, you need to keep in mind that exceptions always happen, but most of you are going to make 70 to 100K, 35 to $50 per hour. Just for the past 2 months, we had more than 100 graduates getting the jobs across the United States, already in 30 states, and I'm going to show you the map and tell more about it. You also need to be looking to get a job within the next 2 to 4 months, because that's the approximate time that takes to get the job after you start your job search. So after 6 weeks, if you follow the instructions, that we're going to talk about the instructions, they're very straightforward. You're going to start your job search. The job search should take between 2 to 4 months. You're always going to have exceptions. Someone will get a job after 2 weeks. Someone will get a job after 4 months and 2 weeks. But as long as you're following the instructions, it should not take you longer than 2, 3, sometimes 4 months. What you don't need any technical background. You don't need any computer science degree. You don't need to learn any programming. You don't need to learn any computer science, and you don't need to buy any equipment, because whenever you get the job, you just receive your laptop and the devices that you need. For us, as long as you can watch the lesson, you can hear us, you can watch us, that's good enough. Of course, for the internship, it's good for you to have a laptop. Okay? If you don't have a laptop, you can use your computer. All right. Let's talk about salaries. So, according to Glassdoor.com, which is probably the most reliable website for salaries in the United States, which shows you the average, the annual salary for QA, quality assurance jobs, ranges from 65,000 to 100K across the nation. What we can learn from this average salary, which is around $98,000 right now for software QA engineer, we can learn 2 things. First of all, that the demand for software QA engineer is great, because just a few months ago, maybe 3 months ago, it was around $67,000, around $67,000, $68,000. It jumped $30,000. Now, whenever it was 67, 68, our graduates didn't really care about the average, because they were making 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, and 100K. Why? Because we prepared them, we prepared you much better than the average, because we make sure that you can impress the hiring manager, that you prepared for the interview much better than anyone else, that you have a nice resume, you have a nice LinkedIn, you have all the answers for the most popular questions that you're going to have during those interviews, and we also help you with the job search. That's why our graduates are usually making much more than the average. Whenever it was around $68,000, $70,000, our graduates were making more. Now it jumped to $98,000. Our graduates are still getting around 80, 75, 90, 95, 100, and sometimes more. I will show you exactly where. So first thing, we see that there is a big demand. Second is that if you look on this number, you will see that the average software QA engineer in the United States doesn't know any automation, doesn't know any programming. Although that many companies, probably 80% of the companies, gonna ask for more. Gonna ask, for example, in the job description, they're gonna ask for Python, Java, automation, and different tools for automation. Eventually, they will hire manual QA like you. Why? Because someone who knows automation, who knows programming, he will not even talk to anyone for less than 110, 115K. And you can ask people working in automation, they will not even talk to you for less than 110, 115K. And the average software QA engineer makes less than 100K. So the average QA engineer in the United States doesn't know any automation, doesn't know any programming. That's why you guys, even that many jobs going to ask for automation, eventually you guys going to get those jobs because they might ask for it in the job description, but eventually they will hire someone like you. How we know that? Because we have graduates working already in more than 250 companies in 30 states. Just for the past 2 months, we had more than 100 graduates that got jobs across the nation. The benefits of QA jobs include, it's very easy to learn, and you will witness very soon. I will show you exactly what we do at work. You definitely don't need 6 months or 6 years to learn that. Very good compensation, because 70 to 100K is awesome everywhere for such simple, straightforward job that doesn't require any degree. Lots of QA jobs around US. I see now more than 2 times more jobs than ever before. If in the good days it was 800, 700, sometimes 1,200 positions in the big cities, if you just go to dice.com and you search for software QA engineer, you can see now more than 2,000 positions in the big cities, and not only. So the demand for QA jobs is growing. And also, you can work remotely, which is awesome, and most of our graduates now are working remotely. It means that they can work from anywhere in the United States. We have people from New York getting jobs in Florida, from Florida getting jobs in New York, and vice versa, and from California in Seattle, from Seattle in Chicago. So you basically can apply for much more jobs than ever before, and you can work remotely. You can travel across the United States, and you can work from home, which is awesome. You don't need any computer science degree. You will soon see why. And it's one of the happiest jobs in the United States, according to Forbes. If you just Google Forbes happiest job, QA, you will find that. Why? Because it's stress-free, great compensation, very simple, very easy. It's in the IT world. That's why it's one of the happiest jobs. And also, it's a shortcut into the IT world. You're also going to have opportunities for career growth. And long story short, you will have 2 options, actually 3. The first one is just to stay and do manual QA for many more years, making your 70 to 100K, 35 to 50 per hour, be happy, and just doing that. Many people just do that, and they are happy, and they don't need anything else. But in case that you want to grow, in case that you want to make more than 100K, not now, after you get your first QA job, because first of all, you need to get your 70 to 100K before you start thinking about the growth. Once you get your first QA job, you will be able to go into 2 directions. One is to become more technical, which means to learn programming language, to learn automation, which is not going to be simple, because manual QA, it's very simple, very straightforward. Anyone can do it, and you can learn it in 1 month. Automation is not for everyone. It's complicated, it's sophisticated. You need to learn it at least for 4 months. And probably 80% of the people going to have challenges learning it. But in case that you're going to be dedicated, motivated, and focused, you can learn it after 4 months, and then you can get much more. You can get between 110 to 170K. But again, 80% will have challenges learning that. That's why I recommend to stay away from automation, like from fire, until you get your first QA manual job making 70 to 100K. Because if you're going to lose the focus from the job search and try figure out automation before you get the job, in most cases, it will end very sad. So first get the job, and then, of course, we would help you and highly recommend you to explore automation. Now, in case that you want to compare manual QA to automation, it's like kindergarten to university, okay? And manual QA is very easy, automation is not, but it's something that you should explore after getting your first job. In case that you're not technical, in case that you don't like coding, in case you don't like algorithms, you can also choose another direction, which is to go into leadership, to become a QA lead or a QA manager. Of course, you will have there more responsibilities, more meetings, and probably more headache. And again, I don't think that everyone can be a lead, everyone can be a manager. I don't think it's for everyone. But you're also going to have this path if you decide to grow. Job titles. So we have different titles, guys. Whenever I was working at Apple, my title was software QA engineer of second degree. When I was working at Intel, it was test engineer. When I was working at Toyota San, it was tester, QA tester. When I was working at Uyala, it was senior functional tester. So different names for exactly same kind of job in most of the cases. You will be able to apply for all those positions after you graduate this program as QA engineer, quality assurance engineer, software test engineer, software QA engineer, QA analyst, QA tester, manual tester, functional tester, UI tester, test analyst, QE, and many others. In most cases, it's going to be exactly the same kind of job. Of course, you're going to have exceptions. Of course, you're going to have some positions for software QA engineer that will require you to know automation, especially if they talk about it in the title, sometimes not only. But we don't care about the exceptions. We care about you getting the job in 2 to 4 months. And if you just follow the instructions, you will definitely witness that and get it. The results are usually 4 to 10 interviews with hiring managers after 2 to 4 months of job search. And of course, if you're going to follow the instructions, prepare for the interview, be in touch with your mentors, and just follow the instructions, you will get at least one job offer. So as I mentioned, QA is the second happiest job in the US according to Forbes. Let's talk about our QA course. You will get intensive practical training from industry experts. When I say experts, I mean that our teachers, our instructors, our QA managers, senior software QA engineers, QA engineers from the best companies in the world, like Google, Apple, Facebook, Intel, and many others that come here to share their knowledge and experience with you and help you get your maximum rate in minimum time, avoiding the mistakes that most people are usually having during the job search in this industry, and of course to avoid the mistakes that we used to have in the beginning of our path. I will of course introduce you to teachers very soon. Also, you're going to get internships, references that will really help your resume, because nowadays nobody really wants to hire anyone without experience. That's why we will make sure that after you finish your 4 weeks of the lessons, you will join the internship. And you will be part of the internship until you get the job. The minimum requirement to be at the internship is at least 2 weeks, at least 2 hours per day. But if you decide to be more than 2 weeks, more than 2 hours, you're welcome to be part of it until you get the job. So each month of your job search, your experience will grow. It's going to be remote. You don't need to go anywhere. You can do it from home. You can choose the days. You can choose the hours that work best for you. So it's going to be very, very convenient. You're going to be testing. You're going to have a project with web, a project with mobile. You will write test cases. You will execute test cases. You will write bug reports. You will communicate with the team. You will attend stand-up meetings. And all you need to be more confident during the interviews and to tell more about your team, about your project, about what you do at work, it's definitely going to help you. We're also going to help you with job applications, with our job application services. Basically, we're going to apply for jobs for you because we noticed that many people are being very lazy. So we decided to do something extra, something that no one was doing before. So basically, we apply for you up to 40 positions per day, so you can get, excuse me, so you can get more phone calls, more interviews, and of course, eventually, more offers. You can search the job by yourself, but following the instructions, and you can use the job application services where we apply for jobs for you, or you can combine both, applying with us and applying by yourself. For example, we apply in certain states, you apply in other states. It's something that you definitely can do. You're also going to get convenient online sessions and one-on-one calls with the mentors. So you're going to meet the mentors after you graduate the program and do your internship. You will be introduced to your mentor, and the mentor will make sure that you prepared well and that you sound all right, and will guide you with all the next steps. The lesson is going to be in Zoom. It's going to be very convenient. You can watch it live. If you're going to have any questions, you can just write them in the chat and you will get your answers. I highly recommend to listen carefully first and just to ask questions at the end. But again, sometimes you're going to have lessons where you're just going to have questions during the lesson, and it's totally fine. So it's going to be live. In case that you cannot watch the lesson because you're busy or the time is not perfect for you, you can always watch the video recording that we're going to send you right after each lesson. So in case that you cannot watch it live, you can always watch the video recordings that are going to be sent to you. Like today, today's lesson going to be sent to your emails as well with the recording of lesson number 1. We're also going to help you with the resume, with the LinkedIn, because it's very important for your job search. We want to double check it to make sure that you have everything set, that it's good, and that you have the best possible resume and LinkedIn on the market to get more calls, more interviews. Because many times the problems, they appear there. Whenever there is a mismatch in the resume and the LinkedIn, something is inconsistent, and we know that, we want to make sure that you will have the best possible resume. Our guarantee: you pay us nothing but a small commitment fee until you get hired. It's something that is related to our income share agreement. I'm going to talk about it very soon in details. By the way, you won't owe us anything if you choose income share agreement and you don't get the job in tech or make less than $25 per hour, because you came here to make more, and if you just going to follow the instructions, you will get $35 to $50 per hour, which is 70 to 100K. Let me introduce you our instructors. Patrick Siebenthal, software QA engineer with more than 6 years of experience working at Facebook, at Intel. Nowadays, he works at Google. Mark Hassel, with more than 8 years of experience in QA working at Google and Apple. Myself, Max Lubachansky, with more than 7 years of experience working at Apple, Intel, and many other Silicon Valley companies. Please feel free to go to LinkedIn and see more about our background, and feel free to connect. Today, you're going to meet also Yuri Sokolov with more than 8 years of experience. He's a QA lead at Google currently, in Mountain View, California. He's gonna take the second part of the lesson, and at the end, I will join to answer all of your questions. Also, we have Alex Fastovich with more than 7 years of experience in QA manager at United Power and many other Silicon Valley companies. Vitaly Yerokhin, QA automation with more than 7 years of experience. Ignacio Britos, QA manager with more than 14 years of experience. Nick Haradze, senior QA engineer with over 6 years of experience. And our graduates work for some of the world's most innovative companies like Uber, Apple, Facebook, Slack, Amazon, Samsung, Groupon, AT&T, Google, Salesforce, CBS, Boeing, Chase, Intel, Visa, Oracle, Walt Disney, Snapchat, Dell, Nike, and many, many others that you never heard about. We don't have enough space here to put all of the companies where our graduates are working. So it doesn't matter if it's a famous company or company you never heard about, as long as you're going to get 70 to 100K, 35 to 50 per hour, you're good. Our graduates are working already in 30 states in more than 250 companies. I will share with you soon links for our graduate success stories, so you can see some testimonials. And also, once you're going to graduate the program, I guarantee you that you will get access to dozens and dozens and dozens of other testimonials from our graduate meetings, where you're gonna hear your fellow graduates telling their stories. We didn't put it on our website because some of the people didn't want to put it publicly, but they definitely love to share it with their fellow graduates, and you will witness that as well once you graduate. So 30 states, guys. Just a few months ago, it was 28, 25, 23. Every few months, we have new states, new cities. The rule is like that: 70 to 80K per year, or 35 to 40 per hour across everywhere in the United States. But in the big cities, you can make up to 100K, up to 50 per hour. For example, New York, New Jersey, Chicago, Seattle, LA, San Francisco, San Jose. Yeah, I mentioned the big cities. You can make up to 100K, up to 50 per hour. Exceptions, probably Boston, we have people making up to 90K, up to 45 per hour. Same goes in San Diego. But again, we have exceptions from time to time. For example, someone got in Cincinnati 115K. Someone got in Miami, until recently it was around 70 to 80K. All of a sudden, we had someone who got 90K, we had someone who got 110K. So you will always have exceptions. But the overall rule is 70 to 80K everywhere, and up to 100K, up to 50 per hour in the big cities that I just mentioned. What we do at work, that's going to be very interesting. So guys, I want to show you what we actually do at work. I want you to see how simple it is. And for that, I will share my screen with you, and I will show you some of the things that we encounter during our job. So let me just share my screen. All right. So I hope that you can see my screen now. So guys, this is just an example of e-commerce website. I'm sure that you saw before something similar, like, I don't know, Amazon or any other website that allows you to buy, different stuff. Let's start with the functionality. What is most important is how things work, right? So for example, we come here, we see the Shop Now button, we click the Shop Now button, but it doesn't work. Oh no, it's called a functional issue. Whenever something is not working, we want to report that, to write a bug report, to send it to the developer for them to fix it, and later to check if it was fixed. So this is example of something not working. This is a functional issue. Now let's discuss a UI issue. UI stands for user interface, or GUI, graphic user interface. It's how things look. So for example, this model on the right, it seems that her face is covered, and I'm not sure it's supposed to be like that. So we definitely want to compare to the design document. But in case we don't have the design document, we can always just report that, because it looks weird, it looks strange, it doesn't look like it's supposed to be like that. Okay, we definitely want to report that the face is overlapped with this panel, or you can call it truncated if you want, because you just cannot see part of the image. Let's see other issues. So this is cut off. Let's see something being overlapped. So for example, this model on the right, whenever I hover the mouse over this model, you will see that he will hide the N letter in the word fashion. Boom, you see here? Again, boom. So this is overlapping. Whenever something is covering something else, it could be an image overlapping or covering a button or a letter or a text or anything else. Another example going to be this text. You see the text overlapping the points, the bullets. The text is overlapping the text. Okay, so I'm sure you saw that before. We call that overlapping. Another issues that we pay attention to is whenever something is inconsistent. So for example, those ladies, whenever I hover the mouse, when I say hover, I mean I bring the mouse over this image, you see that the background changes to blue. Now if I go to the next image, it's also going to change to blue while keeping the same image. But whenever I'm going to go to the next image, boom, you see the image changed. It's being cut off or truncated. It's not like it was before. It's inconsistent behavior that we want to report. Another type of issue is whenever something is misaligned. So for example, when you have different checkboxes like this one, you see they don't appear on the same line. It's called misaligned. So it's something that we can report. Same goes for those fields. This is misaligned to this. This is misaligned to this. This one is misaligned to this one, if you just look very carefully. Okay, so this sort of issues. This is misaligned to this. Make sense? All right. Now let me show you an example of how we write bug reports. So this is a website of a model, car model called Toyota Scion. Let's just give an example how we write bug reports. So let's assume that the design tells us that it should show 2019 models, 2019 Yaris, 2019 FRS or 86 model, and 2019 Corolla, but we see that it shows 2020. So it could be just, you know, a copy mistake or grammar mistake in other cases, but let's just say that it's a copy mistake whenever you have the wrong year implemented on the website instead of the one that was supposed to be there. So it's just an example, and let's assume that it's supposed to be 2019. Now, in this case, what we do is we go and we write a bug report. How we do that? Very simple. So first of all, we want to create a screenshot of the area that we found the problem at. You can do it on your MacBook using Command-Shift-4 and just choosing the area that you want to highlight and you want to screenshot. Once you click it, it will save the image on your desktop. If you want to take the picture of the whole screen, you just do Command-Shift-3. If you don't have a MacBook and you have a Windows machine, you can always go to Start, Search, and choose Snipping Tool, which is going to allow you to screenshot the screen as well. Very simple. If you don't know how to do it, don't worry, you will learn in 5 minutes. Very simple. Now, whenever you have the screenshot, You want to go to the most popular bug tracking system in the world. Most companies are going to use that. And if they don't use that, they use something very similar to that. It's called Jira. And in Jira, all you need to know is just one single button right now called Create button. Once you click the Create button, boom, it allows you to fill out this form called a bug report. So first thing, you write project name. For our example, it's going to be demo. Issue type, going to be bug report, because that's what we do as QA people. We write bug reports. Summary, it's going to be the title, which should be short and informative and should show everyone what and where is the problem. So just to remind you, the problem was that the 2020 should be 2019. So let me just save some time, because I already filled this form before, to show you how it's supposed to be. So we write the title. On the home page, 2020 Corolla hatchback model should be 2019. Description with steps to reproduce, actual and expected behavior. So we write, go to the website Toyota Scion. 2, observe the 2020 Corolla hatchback. Observe the 2020 Corolla hatchback, actual 2020 Corolla, expected 2019 Corolla, okay? You don't need to have a PhD in English literature to write it, I promise you. Next goes the priority, how important this issue to the company, because it's a very popular, car company. It could affect millions of customers, millions of sales, millions of dollars. So in this case, we're going to write it as a high priority issue, because it could affect a lot of people. Environment, of course, during the first weeks at work, you will know what is high, what is highest, what is medium, what is low. Different companies going to have different approaches, but usually just use common sense and you will figure it out very quick. Environment shows you where the issue was reproducible. For example, on a MacBook. So we write the MacBook, the version of the macOS, the browser that we used. If it's Windows, you write the laptop, the Windows version, the browser version. And basically, if it's a mobile phone, you can write the name of the phone. For example, Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus, Android, blah, 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 browser, blah, blah, blah. Or if it's an application that was installed on your phone, you just say the name of the application and the build number. Same goes with iOS. You just write the iPhone X with iOS, whatever it is, with the browser or the build number and the name of the application. Attachment with the screenshot that we just created, remember the screenshot? You just choose it, click it twice, and boom, it is being uploaded to your bug report. And of course, assignee, you just choose a name of the person who's going to take care of that. For example, the developer that you work with. Usually you're going to be working with 2, maybe 3 people, and you will know who is in charge of what. For example, someone going to fix the mobile problems, someone going to fix the web problems. You will definitely know who's that after a few days or a few weeks at work. Just for example, I'm going to choose my name, but of course at work you will choose the name of the person responsible for those fixes. So long story short, project name, issue type, which is bug report, title, which should be short and informative and should show everyone what and where is the problem, the description with steps to reproduce, actual and expected behavior, priority, environment, attachments with screenshots or videos, and assignee. Then you just click the create button and boom, congratulations guys, we just created our first bug report. That's how it looks. Okay, title, description, environment, screenshot that we added, the assignee, the reporter, the priority. Okay, and of course you can leave some comments if you need. Was that complicated? I don't think so. It was very straightforward, very simple. Anyone can do that. Now, regarding the graduate success stories, I highly recommend you to watch those. We have multiple testimonials. I highly recommend you to watch that to better understand who we are, what we do, and also to read this article from Forbes, why 9 reasons manual testing will always be in demand. We also just joined a YC. We became a YC company, and very proud of it. It's the one of the most famous accelerators for startups in the United States. Then definitely don't accept everyone. I just want you to know that we are a YC company. Also, if you want to witness and learn more about us, you can read about Careerist on Yahoo Finance, just to see that we are real. Now, regarding the happiest job, you can also find this article that I mentioned before. And regarding the salaries, Glassdoor.com, if you search software QA engineer, you will see $98,000. And if you search for software QE engineer, you will also see more than $90,000, because you can name different names and see different results. But overall, the salary is going to be between 70 to 100K, 35 to 50 per hour if you just follow the instructions. Now on dice.com, just going to show you example that you have more than 2,000 positions right now in the big cities. You just can always go after the lesson and see more. More than 2,800 positions in New York. Let's see how much in Chicago. Wow, more than 2,300 positions. Let's see Seattle, and I didn't go to San Francisco even. More than 2,000 positions. Let's see Los Angeles. I'm sure that any big city you will see a lot of jobs. And you know what? Nowadays, most of the jobs are being remote, which means that you don't care where you're located. You can always get jobs around the country. Cool. Now let's move forward. We already discussed that. So what you get from us is 4 weeks of the educational program. It's going to be online. After that, whenever you learn the theory, the terminology, and practice as well, you will join the more practical part of the internship, where you basically going to be writing test cases, writing bug reports, executing test cases, and doing much more to be more confident during the job. And during the interview, you will also get one-on-one mentoring from the mentors that will work with you one-on-one to make sure that you're following the instructions and that you are prepared well. The lessons going to be Sunday to Thursday. It's going to be from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, which is 8:30 to 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. If you cannot watch the lessons live, you can always watch the video recordings. By the way, guys, I will answer all of your questions. I promise that. Okay, so just bear with us. We will get there and we will answer your questions. You're also going to get job application services, where we're going to apply for you up to 40 positions per day. Just as long as you follow the instructions, you will get our support with the job application services, and you can apply by yourself by our instructions. You can use our job application services, where we apply for you up to 40 positions per day. You can combine both, and if you just follow the instructions, you will see the results, which is multiple phone calls, multiple interviews, and if you prepare well, you're definitely going to get job offers. Let's talk about the prices. I just wanted to introduce you the industry, the salaries, and everything about us, everything about the industry, everything about what we do at work before going into the prices, because otherwise I didn't see any reason to do that. You need to understand what we are talking about. So you have a few different options. One is just to choose the upfront payment, where you just pay $2,999, after which you don't need to pay anything else. That's it. You just pay $2,999 and you get manual QA course, of course, with the job application services. And that's it. Best value, the best option that you can choose. But in case that you cannot pay the $2,999 because you don't have the money, or you have financial issues, or you're not sure that you're going to follow the instructions, in this case, you can choose the ISA, the Income Share Agreement, where you just pay $799 registration fee, after which you don't need to pay anything else until you get your IT job. Once you get your IT job, you will pay us 15% out of your salary before taxes every month at the end of the month for the first 24 months. Now that's going to be more than the upfront $2,999. That's why I'm telling you again that the upfront $2,999 is going to be the best value. But if you cannot afford it, if you cannot pay it, you can choose the income share agreement. Many people love the income share agreement, so you can definitely choose that option as well. Now, you will pay the 15% before taxes every month at the end of the month for the first 24 months in case you choose the income share agreement, only as long as you work in IT and, of course, make more than $25. So basically, you will not need to pay the percentage out of your salary if you stopped working or paused working until you get your next job, and then you will continue to pay the remaining amount of the months. In case that you choose the income share agreement, you will also will be able to join the automation course after you got your first QA job, or at least after searching for the job actively for 4 months. Again, I will repeat, I recommend to join and try automation only after you got your first QA job. Whenever you're gonna get the first QA job, or after 4 months of active job search, you can join the automation program. In this case, you will just add additional 3 months to your contract. So instead of 24 months, it will become 27 months. In case that you want to get both manual QA and automation, and you want to pay upfront, you have the option to pay $5,999. In this case, you will get both manual QA and automation. Of course, in all of those options, you also get the job application services. Now, again, to join the automation in the future, you need to search for the job for at least 4 months or get your first QA job. Now, please don't forget the income share agreement registration fee or upfront are due by noon tomorrow, Pacific time. Actually, tomorrow gonna be Friday, right? So basically, you will be able to have an extra day to do your decision. Just any questions, you can email advisors@careerist.com. I will share with you the links to the contract. Oh, actually, you already have it over here. Get contract and invoice. You can just fill out the form and choose the option that works best for you, and you will get it to your email. Also, we would love to get your feedback, and we will share with you a link to a survey to tell about your experience during today's lesson. And again, guys, I will be here soon answering all of your questions. Okay, so please bear with us. All of the questions are going to be answered. Now, let me introduce you our instructor for today, Yuri. How are you? Can you hear us? Can you see us? Until Yuri is joining, let me answer some of the questions. So regarding the cap, you are correct. The cap, you can always email advisors@careers.com, but the cap right now, if you choose the income share agreement, going to be 30K. Let's see what you got. Is there a referral program if I bring friends? Yes, of course. You can just go to our website, scroll it down, and you'll find the referral link. Will you give any certificates after completing the course? Yes, of course. You will get a certificate of completion, but again, you don't need any certificates in QA, guys. In the United States, you don't need it. You might need it in, I don't know, Africa or UK or Australia or Belarus, but in the United States, you definitely don't need any certificates in QA. You will get certificates from us, but you can send it to your parents. You definitely don't needed for getting the job. Yuri, thank you for joining us. The class is all yours. Can we hear you? Because I think you're muted. Awesome.
Hello?
Yes. So the class is all yours. I will join at the end to answer the remaining questions, guys. During the lesson, you can ask Yuri regarding the material of the lesson, regarding the course, and any other questions. I would love to answer those at the end of the lesson. Thank you very much and see you soon.
All right, guys. So welcome everyone. I'm so happy to see you guys here. So let's start. We're done with the boring part, and now let's have some fun. Are you guys ready to learn some QA, like an actual quality assurance theory and practice? Yes. I know that for some of you, you already went through the webinar, you've seen the some of the part, but some of you, you're probably new. So you want to jump into the QA field. You want to jump into like, what does it mean to be a quality assurance engineer? So for the next part of the class, I'll try to introduce you to this amazing career path, amazing industry, which I personally love, which I spent more than 8 years, probably even longer, working in. And I'll try to answer all your questions. So some of you know me, some of you don't. So let me introduce myself. My name is Yuri Sokolov. I have more than 8 years of experience working in the quality assurance. I'm currently working as a quality assurance lead at Google. Also, I'm a head of a manual QA program within the Careerist company. So when we created this program, guys, we, because all of us, Max, myself, all the teachers, all the lecturers we have in our class, we started from nothing. We didn't have any computer science degree. We didn't have any experience. We came from totally different industries, totally unrelated to IT. 10 years later, we decided to come up with a program that's going to basically it's going to be short enough to summarize and to give you all the things you know to jumpstart your career, to get you into the IT. So all the knowledge you will need to get in order to start your career in QA, plus interview preparations, plus, as you already know, we have job application services. So all this incorporated in what we know right now as a careerist manual QA course. It is crucial to take this course before you would want to move into some more sophisticated programs. For example, like automation. We'll talk about automation today. I'll explain the difference. I'll explain why manual QA is really, really important. And so we will basically start learning QA. All right. So briefly, I will go over what is the software quality assurance. So software quality assurance, it's an umbrella term that basically fits all the productions, all the distributions and factories and anything that is being created. For example, shoes, clothes, furniture. where you have a process of creating something, right? Developing something. There's always going to be a process of quality assurance implemented into all the phases of your development cycle to make sure that the final product satisfies the criteria and satisfies the expectations of our users. Long story short, let's imagine we're developing a chair. Let's imagine we have a factory that makes furniture. Someone designs the furniture, someone creates a furniture. Before the furniture would go to the customers, we need a quality assurance department or QA department to test it, to make sure it's not going to break down, to make sure it can, do whatever the functions it needs to do. And then after the testing, we will say that it satisfies our expectations. We can basically ship it to our customers. So that's what quality assurance is. Coming back to the IT world. In IT world, when we build a software, any software, mobile application, web site, any software, your refrigerator has a software, your Apple Watch has a software. The process is pretty much the same thing. So someone designs the software, designers design the software, or system architects, whatever, product managers, they all come together and they basically design, they create, they basically orchestrate the creation of some piece of a software. Then developers are those physical workers. They physically code whatever the documentation is, whatever the creation of the designers is. Developers are those who basically physically code the software. The next phase after the coding is testing. So that's where the quality assurance engineers, QA testers would come in, and they would physically test the software created by developers. And I've saw some questions, and the questions were basically, why would someone pay such a huge, sort of huge of a salary to someone doing the basic work? And the answer is simple. Imagine you work for a company like an Amazon, or I don't know, eBay, or any other, Netflix, whatever the bigger companies, Google, and someone makes a mistake in their code without testing it or without proper testing efforts, and they would release this code error, this mistake, to the customers. How much do you think this error would cost to the Google? I would say $10 million, $100 million, you name it. There's so many different basically examples how simple software mistake would cost company not only millions of dollars, but the reputation, potentially everything, right? So companies say, okay, we would much rather pay, a QA engineer, whatever, $75,000, $80,000, $100,000. We would have a QA department of like 10, 15, 20 people. So our budget would be like $2 million a year. But we would basically protect ourselves from potential issue, potential mistake and error going to our customers that would potentially cost our company hundreds of millions of dollars. So that's why QA department is paid so well, because they are protecting the company from hundreds of millions of dollars of damages, right? It's simple math, guys. So that's why QA department is paid so well, because our job is follow the process and make sure that whatever the product we create, the company creates, goes through the cycle of testing, and all the issues, all the problems are being caught and addressed before it can go to the users, right? That's the whole purpose. So software quality assurance is the process of monitoring software engineering procedures and methods to ensure quality. Now, another thing that you guys need to know, it is not possible to create a software without bugs. What is the bug? A bug is a software issue. It's a software error. It's a problem. It's whatever the issues we have with our software, software being crashing, software being inconsistent, buttons not working, images not loading. All of these things are called bugs. Okay, so the complexity of a software development basically states that in any given point of a time, there's still going to be a problem with the software, regardless of how many times the engineers will fix it, how many hours they will spend on addressing the issues and troubleshooting and analyzing. There are still going to be bugs. So the purpose of a QA engineers is not to catch all the bugs, but to make sure that all the crucial bugs, all the bad bugs will be caught and will be fixed before the software is going to be released to the user. Guys, please focus on the lesson. I see so many questions that are unrelated to the lesson. So please focus on the lesson. And the questions that are not related to the subject, you can answer at the end. Yeah? Sounds good. All right. So again, the focus of quality assurance engineering is not to catch all the bugs. It's not to find all the issues, because we already established that it is impossible. The focus of a QA department is to try and identify all the crucial problems, severe issues, major problems with the software that can potentially basically cost the company millions of dollars. So those that will affect the users the most. We don't really care about the small problems, if some like the if you release the software and the size of a font is a bit bigger, I mean, it's not a good idea, but it will not affect the company that much. But if you will release a software where the button, like the purchasing button, will not work, add to cart button will not work, something major will not work, that can potentially cost the company millions of dollars. So it's our primary goal. So what does the QA engineer do at their work? So as QA engineers, overview and participate in the entire software development process, which includes the requirement definition, software design, development, testing, and deployment. Quality assurance career, quality assurance position in the company, it's important because we kind of like serve as the type of a person who knows a bit of everything in each department. We have to be connected to each department to some extent to know what's going on, right? To be updated, to know how things are going, to know how what things are being developed, and so on. So QA engineer, it's a very important position. If someone will tell you that if you're a QA engineer that nobody cares for you, it's not true, because QA engineer literally is the most knowledgeable person about the product in the whole company. Because developers, usually what they do, they work on the little things that basically are assigned to. So developer may not know the whole application, how it works, how it interacts with other systems, and so on. Same goes for any other department. They don't really care about how the whole system works. QA engineer, since we do test program from A to Z, from 0 to 100, we need to know exactly how all the component of an application works and what is expected and what is not. That is very, very, very useful skill and knowledge that is pretty valuable in all major companies. So let's talk about the software testing. So software testing in our case, and we will be talking about the manual testing, right? Manual testing basically means that we will be testing an application without the use of any tools or coding or scripts or frameworks. We will be just basically testing application as a users with our brains, with our heads, with our hands, and that's it. Yeah, with our eyes. So software testing or manual testing identifies the correctness, completeness, and quality of a software. A software testing investigation gives stakeholders important information about the quality of a piece of software or a service under test. Software testing provides an objective and independent view of the software, which allows the business to appreciate and understand the risks of implementing the new or changed software. To summarize, what we do is we look at the website or an application or whatever the thing we need to test, and we are trying to analyze and basically understand if the quality of the software satisfies our criteria, satisfies our expectations or not. If something is not working right, if you think that something is, looks a bit off, then we need to address it. We need to basically create a bug report because maybe something is not working the way it's supposed to work. Manual QA so far is the fastest, the quickest way to analyze and identify issues within the software. So to summarize, what is the difference between QA and testing? Again, QA, it's a major umbrella term for like a huge process that can be involved in any part of a development cycle, right? So it's software quality assurance, basically it's preventative, right? So we analyze the whole process, starting from design or requirements, and we go to the development, and then we go to the testing, and then after the testing, after the product is released to our customers, there's a maintenance stage. So QA engineers and QA quality assurance is still involved into the maintenance stage. So QA kind of like oversees the whole flow to make sure that the quality is exactly what we expect it to be. Testing, it's basically just a stage, it's a phase of QA. So testing comes when we physically compare what is basically, so we compare the actual result, so our software, right? So we have a software, we have a website, we have a mobile application, and we compare it to what was the expected result. Let's say we have a requirement document that says that there's a button, right? And the button color or the size should be blue and this, right? So when we test, we physically compare the finished product to the requirements. And we say, if the color of the button is blue, it's a pass, because that's basically what's in the requirements. If the color of the button is not blue, that's a fail, because it's a mismatch between what is expected and what is actual. Same goes for the functionality. When you click on certain button, we expect some action to happen, some function to happen. If we don't see it, it's a mismatch. So that's a process of testing. So testing mainly involves testing or verifying software to detect the differences between its actual and its required behavior requirements. Guys, do you have any questions about material so far, or everything's pretty straightforward? Please let me know in the chat room. Okay, so it seems like everything is pretty straightforward. Awesome. So we can continue. Let's talk more about first of all, let's talk about the different approaches to testing. I know that some of you know about automation and manual, and what is the difference. Again, this course, the initial course, if you don't know anything about QA, we strongly encourage you to take the course, the manual testing. Why? So let's talk about the manual testing first. Manual testing it's the process of finding defects or bugs in an application. The tester acts as an end user to verify that all the features that application and working correctly. So it's exactly what I said. We don't use any tools, any coding languages, any frameworks. We use our own common sense and logic and personal skills and our brains and our body to identify the issues within the software under test, but just by looking at it. Yeah. So any difference, we compare the software in front of us, yeah, the application in front of us, to the requirements. And if there is a mismatch, we treat it as a bug or a defect. Bug, it's a slang. It's a terminology for error, for a software error, for issue, for a flaw, whatever you like to call it. Professionally, we call it a bug. So when manual QA engineer identifies a problem, yeah, finds a bug, we need to create some form, we need to basically address it somehow. We need to document and send it to developers. So we create a so-called bug report and then send it to developer. And developer then fixes it and send it back to us. So the goal of a software testing is to ensure that the application, it's very important, guys, please pay attention. It's a very important part. The goal of software testing is to ensure that the application has no major defects and as few minor bugs as possible. Again, if we have minor bugs, we're technically okay with that. But we are not okay if our software has any major bug or multiple major bugs. We're not okay with that. The software should be working to a sufficiently high standard so that it is acceptable to our customers. Do you have any questions, guys? Okay. So let's talk about why do we need manual testing. Again, human intervention. All right, I got a question. I need to answer it. So, what is considered a major bug? A major bug. It's a good question. Thank you. A major bug is something that will significantly so it will interfere. It's a problem that will significantly interfere with users' ability to use your application. And it kind of depends on what is the main functionality of a software. So let's say if you're shopping on the Amazon, right? Yeah, if you're shopping on the Amazon website, and if you are unable to add a product to the shopping cart, that's a major bug. Basically, if you're unable to add an item to the shopping cart, it means that you are unable to purchase it. And how Amazon makes money? By people purchasing the items and paying for them, right? So that's a major bug. The payment flow being broken, the checkout flow in Amazon being broken, that's another example of a major bug. It means that the company will stop making money. Okay, a great question in the chat room. What then can be considered a minor bug? A minor bug can be considered something like a color of a font. Yeah. So we were expecting the color of a font black, and instead it's blue, right? So spelling errors. Yeah, that. Or the size of a button. It was supposed to be like 200 pixels, and it's 250 pixels. It's obviously something that needs to be addressed, but it does not interfere with our clients and their ability to basically use the application. Yeah. So critical bug or major bug. It's something that basically blocks our users or interferes with our users' ability to use the major functions of our application. It, if you're unable to upload an image in Instagram or post an image in Instagram, that's a major bug because it basically interferes with the major functionality of a software, right? If you're unable to comment on your friend's Facebook page, that's a major bug because it's one of the most important features in Facebook. I'm sure you'll get the point. I'm sure you'll get the rest. Again, human intervention needs to be ongoing. That's important because humans' eye, our brains and our eyes are the fastest, quickest way to spot something that is a bit off, right? Spot an error, spot an issue, even without knowing the requirements, without knowing the how software works. We're still able to quickly analyze what we see in front of us and identify if something looks off. So that's what we call the human judgment. Automation testing is too expensive or time consuming. Yes, we'll talk about automation testing later. Manual testing. Again, guys, let's talk about how does the software being created. Yeah? So let's look at the whole bigger picture of how the software is being created. So first, there is a creation of requirements. It's happening by our product managers, designers, architects. So they create requirements. They basically create a document which will say like, okay, we need to have this button here, this button there, this button should be this size, this button should be that size, color, function, everything. Everything is basically documented. QA engineers can come in this phase and they can be asked to provide a feedback about, well, how much time do you think you will need in order to test this feature, right? So QA engineers, usually it's a QA lead or QA manager, someone with more knowledge and more experience of a software and the product. They would come in and they would say like, they would basically look at the document, they will see the scope, and they will say, we think that we will need like a week of testing, or we will need like 2 QA engineers to test it, and so on. So it's called requirement analysis. After, there's a test planning stage. Test planning stage is when we look at the potential software, right, or a software change, new feature, and we analyze and we think, okay, how are we gonna test it? It's like, do we need to use this system, or do we need to use this approach, or we don't need to do anything, just basically test it, right? There's a test planning stage or phase. After that, there's a test case creation phase. Test cases, we'll be talking about test cases, but test cases are basically a single user stories that will provide us understanding that something works or something not. So there are use cases. You can call them test cases, use cases, user stories. It's a short list of steps to check if something works or not. By the way, in this course, we'll have a significant amount of exercises in regards to test cases. I will make sure of that. So by the end of this course, you will be a guru in test case creation. I can guarantee it. After we create the test cases, we are moving into the testing, the phase where we actually execute test cases and execute just plain test the software, right? So we try to break whatever is in front of us. We try to find an issues, like something major. Obviously, we follow the strategy, but a lot of what we do is sort of intuitive. So that's why this job is somewhat, kind of like it's pretty creative job, to be honest. It's not just it's not scripted. Yeah, it's really creative job. So you'll have pretty decent sized room for experiments and approaches. It's not going to be something boring. You will find your way on how to test something. It is creative. So the testing part is when we try and break and find vulnerabilities and find issues in the software that is given to us by the developers. If we find problems, or when we find problems, we are creating bug reports. Also, another big thing in our studies, in our classes, is how to create a bug report. It is important because it's a documentation. So we'll teach you how to create bug reports. We'll teach you how to write test cases so that the moment you will step in to the company as a QA engineer, you won't be embarrassed. You will know exactly what to do and how to act and how to file test cases. I'm sorry, how to file bug reports and create test cases. It's not that complicated, actually. Then we also basically verify the fixes that are coming from our developers, which is basically retesting. You can call it the retesting. It's pretty straightforward. Now, guys, let's talk about the automated testing, because I know that some of you are signing up for our ISA or Tech Bundle option. So when we somehow, so now we know a bit about the manual testing. For manual testing, you don't need to know much. You don't need to know tools. You don't need to know scripts, coding. But automated testing is very similar to manual testing. But the automated testing basically takes the same effort that is done by manual testing and tries to automate it. Using scripts. So using code, using scripts, using frameworks. Yeah? And I know that in some cases, people are thinking, okay, I should probably go to automation testing right away because you see a lot of jobs with automation testing, right? The salaries are a bit higher. Yeah. But those people are missing the point. And the point is that automation testing is not a better version of testing. It's not a better version of manual testing at all. That is somewhat absolutely different that companies are trying to implement, that in some cases is actually less efficient than the manual testing program. So let me tell you about my experience with the automation testing, because I've been working as a manual QA for many years, and I've been working as automation QA also for 3 years now. Automation testing is only important in certain things. It's only valuable in certain things, right? First of all, automation testing relies heavily on the documentation that is being created by our manual QA engineers. So automation quality assurance engineers, they may even not know much about quality assurance. In fact, they don't have to, because they don't design the tests. They don't test anything. They do not act as a QA engineers at all. Automation tester's job is to basically transfer the manual QA efforts into the code. That's it. They should know how to basically write a test case, or basically execute the test case with the code. They don't really care about what the test case is. They don't even know what the test case. They don't know what to test. They don't care. So automation testing is completely different thing from the manual testing. And in my experience, the people who went into the automation without having the manual testing, they're lacking core basic understanding of what QA is. They are very lousy QA engineers, and they will struggle with their careers going forward. So my suggestion, before you want to explore automation QA or automated testing theory and knowledge, you should 100% take the manual testing course first. Otherwise, you will be completely lost. Okay? So both of those types of testing are important, but they're used at a different time, under different circumstances, and under different, basically, business reasons. So first, let's talk about the pros of manual testing versus automated testing. So automated testing is something that basically automation engineers will automate in the form of scripts, and then it can be run as many times a day as we want. So it's awesome for something that we know is not going to change much, and something that will be run quite often to check for errors. The biggest problem with automation testing is, let's say, let me move to this slide, right? The biggest problems with automation testing is, so test scripts are typically written by an automation testing scripter. The problem is not a lot of people can write automated tests, and those that can write, they need to know like a coding language, they need to know scripting, and they need to know everything else. So it's a very specific, kind of like a niche job, niche job description. The automated testing still requires manual test cases to be written first, and then those are being automated. So you cannot technically have an automation testers without manual testers. They're not going to be successful, right? On top of it, it will require a sophisticated platform and infrastructure to maintain. It's really, really, really cost ineffective to have an automation setup running, because it will require multiple QA engineers, test automation engineers to maintain. For manual testing, of course, also there are cons, right? QA engineers, since we are people, right? Since we are humans, when we test, when we go through the test cases, we go through like, dozens of them. We may lose track or lose focus. We may miss something. So obviously, human brain is superior enough to identify issue right away, mostly as like a sprinter, right? So human brains are working as sprinters. But when we are being used, an hour after hour after hour, we tend to lose our focus. We tend to lose our concentration. In this case, we can basically miss problems. We can miss issues. So that's where the automation may be more efficient or more effective, because it can run and run and run and run and check for things that needs to be checked. Humans, people are basically, we can be tired, we can miss things, we can, go on the coffee breaks and so on. But essentially, the biggest thing is that both of those types, manual and automation testing, they're important, and they can coexist together. First, you as a person who doesn't have any experience in QA should learn the basics of manual QA, and then move into the automation. That's exactly what you need to do, and that's what I did. Now, guys, let's talk about, we'll move into the theory. We'll move to the theory of testing. First of all, do you have any questions about manual versus automation QA for now? All right, awesome, cool. If you have any questions, let me know. The question is, do you need to know coding for manual? No, you don't. Okay, All right, so let's tackle this one. Let's go back to our manual QA or just QA theory. Let's talk about the types of testing. Just look at the slide. I'll read it. The slide says there are more than 50 different subtypes or types of testing. But manual QA engineers mostly perform only a few of them. I'll tell you a pretty cool story from my personal experience. When I was working, that was like a few years ago, 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, I don't remember. But I was already working as a QA lead by then. And I got a phone call from one of the hiring managers. They found my resume somewhere on the web, somewhere on the website, the job seeking site. And they called me and was like, well, do you want to interview for this position? And I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared, but I said, okay, yeah, go ahead. And this hiring manager, she started asking me all these questions about this type of testing, that type of testing. It was like super specific, like super like academic, like by the book, theoretical. And by that time, I was QA engineer, QA lead. I had like more than 5 or 6 years experience behind me, and I wasn't able to answer 80% of the questions. Why? Because it doesn't matter, because nobody cares about those, definitions and categories and subtypes. You do your work, you can be a QA manager, and I can guarantee that the QA manager can also not know the answers to those stupid questions from the study book. But we will teach you regardless. We'll basically show you what are the types of testing exist. Because why? Because it can be important during the interview. Because someone can call you and ask you the same questions, and we want you to be ready to answer all these questions. Yeah. The point is, during your work, you won't be needing 90% of the information you will learn. But it may be important for your interview. So we'll provide all the information you need to know, or you need to memorize, you need to learn in order to pass an interview, because that is the final goal. The final goal is not to teach you all 50 subtypes of testing. The final goal is for you getting a job, making 100,000 a year. Yeah? All right, guys, so let's start from the beginning. There are first 3 subtypes of testing, major subtypes. It's called black box, white box, and gray box. So I'll read one by one that explain what they mean. The black box. In black box testing, the tester examines the functionality of an application without having access to the source code. So manual QA basically is considered the black box testing. So we test as a user without knowing the code or without the use of a code. So exactly it fits the black box testing profile. Now, the white box, as you probably figured out by now, it's the opposite. In white box testing, the tester designs tests based on the code. So in white box testing, the tester may not even have an access to an interface. So the white box testers, they basically test using just the code. It's a totally different career, totally different profession. It's not even automation. That's a totally different thing. But that's the subtype. It's called white box testing. The gray box testing is a combination of both. When you can check using the interface as a user, also you can check and test using the code. That's basically a mix. Okay? Now, super important slide, guys. Super important slide. Pay attention, please. There are 2 main testing types. One's called functional testing, another one is called non-functional testing. Functional testing checks for what the system does. Functional testing answers the question what the system does. So functional testing is testing what the software does based on its specifications. It's verifying how compliant it is with the specific functional requirements. So I'll read what the non-functional stands for, and then I'll explain the difference. I'll give you a pretty good example. Non-functional testing, it's a testing of a software application for its non-functional requirements. So unlike the functional test where we would check what the system does, the non-functional testing will answer the question how well the software functions or how well the system does it. Yeah, so let me give you an example. It's a pretty simple example. I'm sure all of you will understand. Let's say we work for Google, and our job is to test Google search. I'm sure that all of you are familiar with the Google search. The test is simple. Yeah, the test case is simple. We go to the google.com, we type in the query, and the query can be whatever you like. I don't know, how to I don't know, cook a chicken, right? Or how to type something, whatever the query is. So we type in the query, and then we click on the search icon, the Google website, right? And then we receive a list of search results. That's exactly how Google search works. So let's look at this example from both perspectives, the functional and non-functional. So the functional perspective would be to verify that what the system does, right? So from functional point of view, all we have to do is type in the query, click on the search icon, and when we see a list of search results, it means that the test is have passed, right? The test passed because that's exactly what it's supposed to do. We just verified the functionality. Now, let's take a look at the same test from the non-functional perspective. So we would go into the Google website, right? We would type in the query, we would click on the search icon. But the non-functional test would need to measure how well the system does it. For example, how long does it take for Google to come up with a list of search results? Or how many search results will be provided to us? Or what happens if we click the search button like a million times, right? So we don't test the functionality, but we test how well the system basically behaves under the same scenario. Does it make sense, guys? So the test case would be the same, but what we will check is going to be kind of like a bit of a different thing. So that's the main reason between functional testing and non-functional testing. Cool. All right. So let's continue with the final slide. The question from Kevin, non-functional would be like load or stress testing. Yes. Okay, guys. So remember I told you there are more than 50 different subtypes of testing in whatever, in the world, in the industry. True. But as a manual QA engineer, you will be working with mostly those 3 of them. So let me go one by one. I'll try to explain what they mean and what basically, how do we use it. So first one's called exploratory testing. Exploratory testing is an approach to software testing which focuses on discovery, learning, and investigation, and relies on creativity, experience and intuition of the individual tester to quickly uncover defects, and often described as simultaneous test design and execution. So exploratory testing is what we use a lot on daily basis. What it means is we mostly rely on ourselves to get familiar with an application or a software or a website without relying heavily on the documentation. Because in reality, the documentation is not going to be sufficient. It's not going to be complete. It's going to be always pretty short. Don't expect documentation to be uh, basically to have all the answers and all the requirements and all the knowledge and all the notes. So I would say exploratory testing is one of the most important, if not the most important part of the manual QA job. We will still rely on our common sense, on our logic, on our intuition when we will be testing. So majority of the bugs are actually uncovered during the exploratory testing. It means that you guys will be like detectives. You will be like Sherlock Holmes, and your job would be to find problems with an application, trying to break it, and basically find issues. That's why this job is creative, and that's what exploratory testing is. Exploratory testing is somewhat different from ad hoc. If some of you know about ad hoc testing, it's more structured and it's more strategized, but still it's pretty intuitive type of approach towards the testing of an application. Now let's talk about smoke testing. That's a good subject. I like it. Smoke testing covers the most important functionality of a software and verifies that the software appears to work correctly. It precedes the actual in-depth testing and aims to verify that the build is deployed successfully and that all components are running and ready for the actual test process. Guys, so the term smoke testing comes from back. Let's move back to the era of resistors and hardware, the probably like 70 years ago. So when they at the factory would create some sort of a gadget, like a radio or the toaster or the whatever, the some form of a electrical gadget, they would perform a test. They would plug it into the outlet, uh, and they would turn on the button, right? Turn it off, switch it on. And if they would see the smoke coming out of it, it means the test failed. It means something obviously was something wrong with this gadget, this electronic device. So that's where the smoke test term comes from 40s and 50s, where the basic test to check if something was working or not was to plug it into the outlet and turn the power button on. If you don't see a smoke, it means it's working all right. If you see a smoke, it doesn't work all right. So coming back to our times, right, to the software development, the purpose of the smoke testing is pretty much the same. We would only spend maybe 10, 20, 30 minutes playing around with the software, and if something was obviously wrong with it, we would see it right away. Either the application would crash, or the website wouldn't load, or the I don't know, your phone would die, the will cut up in smoke, like Samsung Galaxy. But the purpose of a smoke testing is when you receive a version of a software that was built by the developers early on, and you play around with it for like 20-30 minutes. If something goes really wrong, you will see it right away. That's the purpose of a smoke testing. It's performed during exactly that time. Now, a third type of testing is called the regression testing. So regression testing ensures that the new changes in software do not break any existing functionalities. This type of testing verifies that the features that used to work still work. Regression bug is a defect which did not exist in an earlier version of the product. Regression testing basically means that, let's say we have a software, right? And that software would have a button, and this button would have certain function. And this button was there for, years. So when QA engineers document testing efforts, we would create a test cases. That's what I said. And one of the test cases would be to check that this button, works. Right? Click on this button, expect this result. So regression testing basically means that if developers would come up with a new version of a software, and remember, guys, there's always going to be a new version of a software. They're always changing the code. They're always fixing something. They're always trying to improve the software or change something. So there's always going to be some manipulation with the code. So at a certain time, right, when we would test this piece of a software, this version of a software, and whatever the functionality that used to work, that button that was working for a year before, right, that was there for the year and didn't have any problems with it, suddenly doesn't work. That's what's called the regression bug. It's called the regression issue. It means that whatever that used to work, it doesn't work right now. And that's called regression bug. And that is the purpose of regression testing, to make sure that whatever used to work works at this given amount of time. All right, guys, do you have any questions? Obviously, next lesson we'll continue talking about more testing types. There are way more testing types, and we will try to introduce you to all of them. It's pretty much impossible to learn all of them, and it's not required. But we want to make sure that all of you are going to be aware, and all of you would be able to understand and find information about those if you need to. Okay, so please finalize the signing up process, because I really want you to see you on our second lesson.
Thank you very much, Yuri. I gotta take it from here. Thank you very much. All right, guys, as I promised, we are going to answer your questions. So just bear with me. I have a lot of questions, so please give me to answer those that we have already. Most of those questions I'm going to repeat, so just listen carefully. So let's see. How long will it take to complete manual QA plus automation? So guys, the manual QA course is 6 weeks. It's 4 weeks of the lessons and 2 weeks of the internship. And after you're done with that, you start your job search. And in 1 to 4 months, you get your manual QA job. After, if you follow the instructions, after you got the job, you can try explore automation, try to join the automation program. Before that, no reason to do that. Again, if you wish to join the automation program after 4 months of job search, you can do that. But I recommend to join automation and after you got your job. Any questions? I see like a payment plan. As far as I know, we don't have any payment plan as for now, but you're welcome to email advisors@carriers.com, because I know that we might have it soon. Why is there a 4-month waiting period between finishing the course and starting a new course? Because if you're going to start learning automation right after manual, probably in 95% of the cases, you will lose the focus and you will not get anything. So we want you to get the job first, to get 70 to 100K, and then after you got it, to try to learn automation. 80% of the people will have challenges learning automation because it's going to be sophisticated, complicated. You will need to learn coding. You will need to learn algorithms. That's why. What you have, if you have a coding background, do you still recommend doing manual testing first? Yes, of course. 70% of the interview questions from automation going to be about manual QA for automation positions. Do you need to learn writing scripts for automation testing? Yes, you will need to learn programming and algorithms. But today we talk about manual testing, black box testing, functional testing. Very simple, very straightforward. Anyone can do it. Do we have homework? Yes, we're going to have homework. It's not going to be complicated. It's not going to be long. It's probably going to take you 15 minutes to do, and you're going to have it from time to time. Same goes about quizzes. It's going to be simple, short, just to make sure that you are watching the lesson. What is the minimum maximum hours required for internships? So minimum is at least 2 hours per day, at least 2 weeks, 5 days a week. If you wish to be longer, you are welcome until you get the job. You guys help us with the job? Yes, and we explain how. Is there a screening test for the automation, like knowing Python? Yes, that's why we're gonna, after you're gonna get your manual QA job, or after 4 months of active job search, you will have, if you decide to join automation, you will have a short Python course before you join the automation program. Is there a limit on making the payment? Is it for a limited time offer? So usually it's until the next day noon, but because tomorrow is Friday, you will probably have an extra day until the next lesson. Is the class live? Yes, it is live, and if you cannot watch live, you can watch video recordings. What is the size of the class? It really depends on the group. It could be between 30 to 100 people, really depends. Can you pay extra each month? I'm not sure what you're asking, sorry. Let's see. So the tech career bundle, it's whenever you get both manual QA, and then you can join automation if you wish so after 4 months of job search or after getting the job. What is the statistics? So guys, those that follow the instructions, 95% are getting the jobs. Those that are not following the instructions, they are wasting their time and effort and are not getting the jobs in 2 to 4 months. So if you want to get a job in 2 to 4 months, just follow instructions and you will get it. The 5% that are not getting it, they usually have an English problem, visa problem, or sometimes soft skills problem during the interview. Those that follow the instructions and be in touch with us and prepare for the interview, they don't have those problems. I just tried to go to the schedule and was unable to. Do I need the credentials? No, you don't. You can just scroll down and you will see all the dates, all the hours, and all the topics that we teach. We teach you Jira to write bug reports, test trail to write test cases, browser stack. We teach you ADB commands, Unix commands, Xcode, and Android Studio, how to install and uninstall applications, how to create log files, Chrome DevTools, SQL, API, whatever you need, we're going to teach you. If you don't need something, we're not going to teach you that. Is there any software to download for the training? No, you don't need to download anything for the training. If you will need, you will be instructed by your lead at the internship, but most of it is going to be on web. How can something so simple be worth 75K salary? Well, it's actually worth 80 and 90 and 100K salary. And you know what? It's not new. It's for the last 25 years been around. You were just not aware of that. Okay? And definitely in the IT, 70, 80, 90, 100K, it's not considered a lot. It's the lowest salaries in the IT world. Is this for fresh graduates or any age limit? So guys, we have graduates with jobs 19 years old and 60 years old. Just recently, we had a 60 years old in Atlanta, Georgia, who got 80K. Before him, just a few weeks before, we had a guy 55 years old who got around 80K in New Jersey. So it's not about the age, it's about your confidence, about following instructions. And of course, you need to be a good user of your phone, of your laptop, not a programmer, a just good user. You need to know how to restart your laptop. You need to know how to go to the settings in your phone, okay? Very simple. If you don't know how to do that, you can go to YouTube and watch a tutorial for beginners how to use your phone. Hello, my name is Imon, and I'm a developer. Is there any way I can just get help to find job without taking this course? No, because we teach you QA. It's not development, okay? And if you're a developer, it means you probably don't know anything about QA. So we will prepare you for that, for the interview, with the resume, with the LinkedIn, with the internship, so you can pass the interview and get the job. Of course, having a background, a technical background, programming background will make companies just, chase after you and kidnap you in a good way. So you will definitely get the job before everyone else. But again, it doesn't matter, because the 95% of other people that don't have any technical background, like most people here, they will still get the job in 2 to 4 months. Why would you change company so much? Because every time you change a company, you get more money. If you just sit in one place, you get 5% extra at the end of the year. If you jump from place to place, you can get extra 10, extra 20, extra 30%. I'm sorry, Dorothy, I didn't understand your question. Internship going to be after the manual QA course. It's going to be different companies at Stanford, at Palo Alto, Menlo Park, LA, New York. But it doesn't matter, because you will do it remotely from anywhere you want, and you will write that you're doing it from your city and your state. Is there a high demand for QA? Of course. That's why I showed you dice.com searching for software QA engineering positions, and showed you that there are more than 2,000 positions in the big cities. Will this program get certified with some of the skills, or we will need to pay for a test elsewhere to get certification? As I mentioned before, you don't need any certification in QA. Of course, you will get a certification of completion from us, but you don't need it. You can send it to your parents, but you will never need any certificates in QA. Yuri doesn't have certificates. I don't have certificates. And none of our graduates have any certificates, and they get the jobs all the time. You don't need certificates in the United States. But again, if you will need it, we will send it to you. Do we go to the market as an entry level? So guys, after the internship, you will be able to apply not only for the entry level, but also for the mid-level positions. What are the times of the internship? You will choose the best time that works best for you. The job application services is available for all students. Yes. Is there any priority for students between ISA over upfront payment? No, we're going to help you all exactly the same way. You just need to follow instructions, be nice and friendly, and we're going to be very nice and friendly and supportive with you. Will this program teach any programming languages? No, you don't need any programming language in QA, in manual testing for sure. For automation, yes, we're going to teach you Python, but we don't talk about automation today, we talk about manual QA. when the income share agreement payment is due, where after the 24 month. I'm looking to make a transition from sales career into this career. Will your course be able to help me position myself as an asset in future job application? Of course, all of you are going to be assets. And also something that I didn't see here was the difference between us and other courses. So first of all, we are the biggest online QA course in the United States. We have more than 170 employees. That's why we can help and support you much more than anyone else ever before. Also, we're going to provide you the internship right after the 4 weeks of the program, something that other courses probably can provide you after 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, or never. And we do it after only 4 weeks. Also, we have the best teachers from the best companies from Google, Apple, Facebook, Intel that will share their experience and knowledge with you and help you avoid the mistakes that most people are doing. Besides that, we're going to help you with job application services, applying for jobs for you, so you will get more interviews, more calls, and more job offers. And many more things that I mentioned today during the lesson. If you joined at the end or in the middle, please watch the video recording that's going to be sent to you guys. That's why you're going to be prepared much better than the average, and you will get much more than the average. You will get 70 to 100K, 35 to $50 per hour. Also, we're going to have mentors that are going to work with you one-on-one, and we'll make sure that you're not only prepared, but you also sound good, sound confident, and they will support and help you sound like that. Cool. Great. I just answered about the time of the internship, guys. You choose the time, you choose the day. You will discuss it with your lead of the internship, but you will be able to choose the time. What is the minimum internet speed? Well, if you have internet speed that allows you to watch us right now, that's good enough. Can I change ISA to upfront? No, you need to choose the option right now. Either way, it's going to be the best investment in your life. Cool. How long the internship lasts? Guys, were you listening? I answered it like at least 3 times today, but the internship going to be minimum 2 weeks, minimum 2 hours per day, but you are welcome to be more than 2 hours and more than 2 weeks until you get the job. Can you pay more than 15%, 70% monthly and complete payment sooner? If you wish, probably. But why would you? I'm not sure. Okay, 15%. I'm sorry, not 17. 15%. I don't see any reason to pay before, but if you want, you're welcome. Regarding when is the next class, you always can email advisors@careers.com to get answer to this question. Of course, sooner you join us, faster you get the job. Let's see. And of course, if it doesn't work with your schedule, you can always watch the video recordings. All right. The lesson number 2 going to be on Sunday, same time. And any questions, you can always email advisors@careers.com. You need to choose the option that works best for you. Below, you will find the link to the get contract and invoice, so you can choose the option that works best for you and to choose the upfront or the income share agreement. Once you do that, you will be able to join the next lessons. How many jobs are available in Virginia? So if you just go to dice.com and search for software QA engineering, software QA engineer, you will see probably a lot of jobs. Now, it doesn't mean that all of them going to fit to you. Some of them going to ask for more, and it doesn't really matter because you don't need all the jobs. You just need one job that will be perfect for you. Again, 80% of the jobs might ask you for more experience, more knowledge, more skills, but eventually 65% of those will hire someone like you. How we know that? Because more than 100 people got jobs just for the past 2 months. All right. We will have different internships, different companies, especially now that we became a YC company. We will probably have more internships, more companies, but it changes from time to time, different projects, different internship. We will make sure that you will have web and mobile internships so you can practice and be more confident for your job. Will I be able to retake the course if I did? Yes, of course. I don't see any reason to do that, but if you will need it, you can. So the options that we have are the options that we have. We don't have other options. Do you teach mobile testing? Yes, of course. Web testing, mobile testing. It's very similar, but yeah, definitely we're going to teach you all that. Is it possible to get the internship in person? Well, I think that right now, most companies, they prefer to work remotely due to COVID situation. So right now, all of them are remote. If in the future we're going to have something in office, we will let you know. Is this job in tech or medical company? Well, you will have QA people everywhere. Medical company, insurance company, banking company, porn websites, mobile applications, any application, any website that you have, you find, you will have QA people there. Okay? Awesome. So guys, I really hope that you enjoyed our lesson today. I really hope that you had the chance to click the Get Contract and Invoice button. I see that most of you already did. And you got the option that works best for you. If you're going to have any additional questions, please email advisors@careers.com. You're welcome to copy those links right now because they will disappear really, really soon. Also, I just want to share with you the article from Forbes about why QA is alive and kicking, and 9 reasons manual testing will always be in demand. Today's lesson is lesson number 1, and it's completely free. You're correct. All right, guys, I think I answered your questions. Did I miss anyone? Just in case, you can always email advisors@careers.com. Thank you very much, and hope to see you on our lesson number 2 this Sunday. The classes are from Sunday to Thursday. Okay, and regarding how to calculate the lessons, the 6 weeks, you can just watch the syllabus, the schedule that I shared before. You can scroll down and see more details about the hours and about the dates. It's going to be in Zoom, and you will be able to watch the lessons like today, seeing the video, seeing the presentation, and asking your questions, getting your answers. And if you cannot watch it live, you can always watch the video recording. The latest day to pay for the course, well, it's supposed to be tomorrow noon, but because it's Friday, you probably can still do it until Sunday. Thank you very much, and hope to see all of you soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.